Picture this, America's gilded cities. The 1980s and 1990s, where fortunes are made and lost in the blink of an eye. But in the shadows, a different kind of empire is rising. One built not on honest ambition, but on lies, grift, and the coldest kind of calculation. At its center is Sante and Kenneth, a woman with a steel will and a taste for the high life. If you're ready to uncover more secrets behind the world's most fascinating cons, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. That way, you'll never miss the next twist in the world of cons, and you'll always be one step ahead of the game. Sante and Kenneth was born in 1934 in Oklahoma, the daughter of a field hand and a seamstress. Poverty and instability, her constant companions. She was fiercely ambitious, determined to claw her way out of obscurity by any means necessary. After a string of failed marriages and a brush with the law, she reinvents herself again and again. Socialite, wife, mother, and most importantly, con artist. Her son, Kenneth Kenneth Jr., is her shadow and her weapon. Born into a world of shifting identities and moral ambiguity. Raised in luxury, but without boundaries. Kenny idealized his mother, absorbing her lessons in manipulation and entitlement. Together, they became a team. Sante, the mastermind, and Kenny, the loyal accomplice, bound by blood, ambition, and a shared belief that the world owed them everything. From the time he could walk, Kenny was groomed for the family business. When I was like 8 or 9, Mom would have me crawl through windows. I was small, I could break into houses and get what she wanted, recalls her oldest son, Kent. Shoplifting, car theft, insurance fraud, these are the building blocks of Kenny's childhood. After the death of her second husband, millionaire Kenneth Kenneth Sr., and with his fortune within her grasp, Sante and Kenny Jr. began a spree that will leave a trail of stolen identities, forged documents, and ruined lives from coast to coast. Sante and Kenny become a two-man wrecking crew, scamming banks, hotels, and anyone unlucky enough to cross their path. They forge signatures, torch houses for insurance, and even keep a homeless man captive to use as a pawn in one of their schemes. The pair are so audacious, they don't just steal money, they steal people's very identities. But their ambition knows no bounds. In New York, they set their sights on Irene Silverman, an 82-year-old widow with a $10 million townhouse on the Upper East Side. Sante and Kenny move in, posing as just mother and son tenants. Behind the scenes, they plot to erase Irene entirely, forging her signature, tracking her every move, and preparing to claim her home as their own. Then Irene vanishes. No body is ever found. But the evidence is damning. Sante's notebooks filled with Irene's personal information, forged documents, and a chilling playbook for murder. The Kenneses are arrested with a suitcase full of incriminating evidence, tax returns, healthcare info, and property deeds. But the Silverman case is just the tip of the iceberg. In Los Angeles, the body of their former associate, David Kasdan, is found in a dumpster near LAX. A bullet in the back of his head, a signature forged on a fraudulent mortgage deal. In the Bahamas, a banker who questioned their financial dealings vanishes, never to be seen again. The trial is a media circus. Sante, ever the manipulator, tries to sway the jury from the witness box and even attempts to influence reporters from her jail cell. Kenny, desperate and cornered, takes a reporter hostage with a ballpoint pen in a last-ditch bid to save his mother from the death penalty. In the end, both are convicted, not just of murder, but of over 100 charges: robbery, conspiracy, grand larceny, forgery, and more. Sante receives 120 years to life. Kenny, 126 years. They're tried again for the Kasdan murder, and both get additional life sentences. Sante dies in prison in 2014. Still defiant, Kenny remains behind bars, his life consumed by the shadow of his mother's ambition. The lesson? Sante and Kenny Kenneth weren't just grifters. They were architects of chaos. A mother-son duo whose hunger for wealth and power left a trail of destruction. that spanned decades. They remind us that sometimes the most dangerous predators are the ones who call you family. That's the story of Sante and Kenneth Kimes Jr., the family that stole, schemed, and killed together, and paid the ultimate price for their twisted bond. With the verdicts read and the dynasty of crime dismantled, the Kimes saga closes in tragedy. But what makes a family turn to deception and stick together through it all? Let's dig into the psychology of toxic loyalty, manipulation, and the dark side of ambition. The Kimes family's criminal saga is rooted in a fearless, almost predatory understanding of human nature. As controversial figure George Santos once admitted, "I've been a terrible liar, but what's to be caught when you convinced everyone around you?" Sante Kimes, the matriarch, saw beneath social facades to the primal needs that drive people: love, belonging, power, validation, and the desire to be needed. She didn't judge these impulses, she weaponized them, especially within our own family, turning basic human needs into tools of control. But Sante's insight didn't stop at her son. Her manipulative charisma and unflinching confidence allowed her to win over victims and accomplices alike, using charm and authority to disarm skepticism and build trust. Her ability to lie convincingly and adapt her persona to any situation made her a formidable social engineer. Sante rarely issued direct commands. Instead, she masked her intent behind a narrative of family loyalty and us against the world. By framing their crimes as necessary for survival or justice, she made her son Kenny feel not only justified, but heroic. This indirect persuasion bypassed moral resistance, making him complicit before he even realized it. The manipulation was so subtle and persistent that Kenny's obedience became automatic. His identity fused with the family's criminal mission. This same approach extended to their victims. Sante and Kenneth excelled at impersonation, forgery, and adopting false identities. Their use of plausible backstories and forged documents played on the human tendency to accept appearances at face value, especially accompanied by charm and apparent respectability. The Kimes' very existence, a mother and son crime duo, is a glaring incongruity in the landscape of American crime. This out-of-place dynamic captured the attention of victims, authorities, and the public, creating a mystique that made their manipulations more potent. Within the family, Sante kept Kenny's focus locked on her approval and their shared mission, ensuring his loyalty and engagement. For outsiders, the spectacle of an affluent, well-dressed family involved in elaborate cons and even murder was so unexpected that it often disarmed suspicion. The Kimes saga is a textbook case of exploiting Blair Warren's hidden addictions. The first, the need to feel needed. Sante made Kenny feel indispensable, feeding his sense of purpose and belonging. The next was hope. She offered the promise of a better life, riches, and significance, if they stuck together and succeeded. The next was the need to be right. Once Kenny was drawn in, his ego became invested in their shared worldview, making it almost impossible to break away or admit wrongdoing. Then there's the need for power. Their crimes gave both mother and son a sense of mastery over a world they felt had wronged them. For their victims, Sante exploited other hidden addictions, the desire for profit, respectability, or association with apparent legitimacy. The halo effect of her charm and fabricated credentials led people to overlook inconsistencies and trust her at their own peril. The Kimes' operation followed the classic confidence game formula. The approach: Sante identified and cultivated Kenny's vulnerabilities, his need for approval, belonging, and significance, while also targeting external victims motivated by profit, trust, or social status. The build-up: she constructed a narrative of family exceptionalism and persecution, justifying increasingly serious crimes, and used forged documents and official-looking paperwork to build credibility. The convincer: each successful con or crime reinforced their bond and the belief that they were special, untouchable, and right. For victims, early successes or plausible deals made them drop their guard. The hoorah: their criminal acts became a source of pride and unity, cementing their toxic loyalty and emboldening them to escalate. The blow-off. When the law finally caught up, the same loyalty and self-justification that fueled their rise ensured their mutual downfall. Neither could betray the other without destroying themselves. Even after arrest, both Sante and Kenneth rationalized their actions, blaming society, their victim, or fate. Their need for justification and loyalty blinded them to the reality of their choices. Their victims too often rationalized their losses, blaming greed, bad luck, or the kindness charm, rather than confronting their own vulnerability to manipulation. The kindness psychological success stemmed from Sante's manipulative charisma, mastery of deception, and her ability to exploit trust and authority. Their victim's susceptibility was rooted in social conditioning, a tendency to trust apparent legitimacy, especially when presented with charm and confidence. Many were motivated by profit or the allure of lucrative deals. Politeness, fear of embarrassment, or reluctance to question authority made people less likely to scrutinize inconsistencies. The use of forged documents and plausible backstories exploited gaps in verification and oversight. The Kimes family saga is now a powerful case study in how manipulation, ambition, and toxic loyalty can override morality and reason. By exploiting hidden psychological needs, especially the need to belong, the need to be right, and to feel powerful, Sante Kimes turned family into the ultimate con, binding her son to a tragic path from which neither could escape. Their story is a chilling reminder that the most dangerous cons are those that prey on our deepest desire for connection, purpose, and significance, whether we're inside the family or standing just outside the door. The greatest deception may be the one we practice on ourselves, believing that loyalty, love, or ambition can justify anything. Every mask hides a story, and sometimes the most dangerous ones are worn at home. In the end, the greatest deception is the one that we usually tell ourselves. This may be the end of our Con Artist series, but the mask frame is only getting started. What hidden stories, unsolved mysteries, or journeys will we explore next? A brand new series is on the horizon, one that will challenge your perspective and spark your curiosity in unexpected ways. Subscribe now and hit the bell so you'll be the first to know when the mask frame pulls back the curtain on its next adventure. Stay tuned, because the next story could change the way you see everything.